Namaste to all students. Khushro Bhitia, myself JV and Dr. Khushbu Verma, Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary Science. Today we will discuss about cDNA library, and this session is related to course recombinant DNA technology of program BTech FBT and BSc BT 6th semester. So cDNA library is a collection of clones containing cDNA and represents the genes that are expressed within a given cell or tissue type at a particular period. cDNA libraries represent sequence after any post-transcriptional modification, means after the splicing of introns regions. The advantages of cDNA library is that it contains only the coding region of the genome. Now we will discuss about the construction of cDNA library. So these are the steps which we can follow during the construction of cDNA library. First is synthesis of first and second cDNA strand, methylation of cDNA at internal sites, attachment of linkers and adapters and restriction digestion process. After that, ligation of double-stranded DNA to vectors. Then introduction into the host system for amplification of cDNA clones. This is the whole flow diagram where we can see about the cDNA library construction. These are the messenger RNA. After the reverse transcription process, we can get the cDNA. This enzyme is reverse transcriptase enzyme. We can get the double stranded cDNA, and after the completion of cDNA synthesis, then we can go for the digestion with the restriction enzymes. It will create the cleaved cDNA material, and on the other hand, vectors are also cleavaged with the same restriction enzyme, and then we can go for the ligation process. And some processes cleaved cDNA can also be attached with the linker molecules, and then we can go for the ligation with the plasmid. And now this is the recombinant vector. It can be introduced into the E. coli. E. coli can be multiply by their normal process and by the reproducing bacteria, and from these we can isolate the DNA, and collection of cDNA library of actively transcribed genes we can do. Now we can discuss about the advantages of the cDNA. So the conversion of messenger RNA sequences to the double-stranded cDNA offers several advantages, including messenger RNA is naturally labeled single-stranded molecule, and its conversion into more stable double-stranded cDNA facilitates long-term storage of these sequences. cDNA is representative of the messenger RNA population, means expressed genes of the cell. Thus, the synthesis of cDNA is the creation of a permanent biochemical record of the cell at the time of the lysis. By synthesizing and cloning the resulting cDNA from a single source, a method of propagating the cDNA is creating. This approach is generally facilitated by the huge variety of the vectors compatible with an equally impressive variety of the hosts. cDNA molecules, both long or short, can be used to screen members of much more complex genomic DNA library. Now we will discuss about the general scheme of double-stranded cDNA synthesis. So it will include the first cDNA strand synthesis, then degradation of messenger RNA, then second cDNA strand synthesis. So here we can see the flow diagram. This is the messenger RNA with the 5' capping and 3' poly A tail region. First strand synthesis with the oligo DT and reverse transcriptase enzyme. It will create the first strand in the direction of 5 to 3' direction. Then RNase H will start to degrade the messenger RNA region, and second strand synthesis start to begin with the help of DNA polymerase, and DNA polymerase will start to synthesize, and it will use the cDNA strand as a template and will create the complementary region of the second strand of the cDNA. Now, second strand cDNA synthesis finally occurs, and it will have poly A tail region at the 5' end, and after the completion of the tailing and terminal transferase and DCTP, we can get this complete double stranded cDNA. Now we will discuss in detail first cDNA strand synthesis. So first strand cDNA synthesis using messenger RNA template is a reaction catalyzed by the reverse transcriptase enzyme, as I told you in the previous slide, and messenger RNA may be subjected to the size fractionation before first cDNA synthesis. Reverse transcriptase requires primer to extend on, and reaction leads to the formation of a hybrid between single-stranded cDNA and messenger RNA. Here we can see again a flow diagram. This is messenger RNA. Now oligo DT primer will attach to the poly A tail region and at the 3' end. Then DNTPs and reverse transcriptase enzyme will start to make a cDNA strand in the direction of 5' to 3'. And this cDNA messenger RNA hybrid is here, and this is how the synthesis of first strand of the cDNA will occur with the help of oligo DT primer and reverse transcriptase enzyme. Now, second step, which is the degradation of messenger RNA. So, messenger RNA template in single-stranded cDNA messenger RNA hybrid is start to degraded by the alkali treatment or by RNase H-catalyzed knifing. This step provides primer for second cDNA strand synthesis, not in case of cell priming of second cDNA strand, and random primers catalyze second strand synthesis. Next step is second strand cDNA synthesis. So second cDNA strand synthesis using the first strand as a template, as I told you in previous slide, is a reaction catalyzed by the DNA dependent DNA polymerase such as E. coli DNA polymerase 1 or Clinau enzyme. The reaction requires the primers, and the end result of this step is the formation of double-stranded cDNA. Here we can see flow diagram. This is cDNA synthesis with the help of messenger RNA, and after that RNA will start to degrade and remnant of the messenger RNA. These are the remnant. It will serve as the primer for the synthesis of second strand of the cDNA, and DNA polymerase 1 in E. coli and or Clinau enzymes can help in the synthesis of second strand of cDNA. These small fragments are generated, and then DNA ligase will attach these fragments and will make the continuous strand, and this synthesis is in the direction of say 5' to 3'. So this is how double-stranded cDNA synthesized. Next is size fractionation of the messenger RNA. The simplest method to enrich preparation of the messenger RNA for sequences of interest is to fractionate them according to size. Size fractionation is used for enrichment of messenger RNA that are much larger or smaller in size than the bulk messenger RNA of the cell. Different ways of size fractionation include density gradient centrifugation and agarose gel electrophoresis. In density gradient centrifugation, different messenger RNA present in a sample when applied to the top of prepared density gradient and subjected to centrifugation and are separated according to the size. Now we will discuss of effect of messenger RNA length on cDNA synthesis. So the length of a specific messenger RNA and hence the cDNA that is to be cloned influences the choice of primer and vector. The majority of messenger RNA species are between 1.5 to 2 kb in length. For these standard messenger RNA, the primer of choice is oligo DT. which is 12 to 18 nucleotide in length. The oligo-DT primer will anneal to the poly-A tract, which is found at 3' terminus of most eukaryotic messenger RNA. Means histone is a notable exception. There are, however, a number of messenger RNA which are extremely long, and it would be difficult to synthesize complete cDNA copies from these long messenger RNA in one place. Now we will discuss primers used for first cDNA strand synthesis. The first step in the synthesis of double-stranded cDNA is the formation of single-stranded cDNA messenger RNA hybrid, which results in the synthesis of first cDNA strand using messenger RNA as a template. First cDNA strand synthesis, either total RNA or a poly-A RNA, can be used depending on the purpose. If the cDNA is served to as a template for PCR, so total RNA is usually sufficient, while poly-A RNA is employed if cDNA is to be used as a hybridization prop. For first cDNA synthesis, messenger RNA template and primers are added together. The preparation is heated at 70-degree temperature to melt the secondary structure of the RNA and then cooled slowly to room temperature to allow primer hybridization, which is called annealing of the primer. Now we will discuss about the oligo-DT primers. So oligo-DT primers that represent a chemically synthesized stretch of 16 to 20 adenosine residues that are used when the messenger RNA species for which cDNA is required is polyadenylate at its third dash end. If the messenger RNA is not polyadenylate, oligo-DT primers cannot be used. The primer is added to the reaction mixture in the large molar excess so that each molecule of messenger RNA binds several molecules of the oligo-DT primers at its long poly-A tail. The annealed primer supplies free 3' group, which is extended by the reverse transcriptase enzyme, and it can prepare the first cDNA strand. Next one is the random primers. So random primers are a collection of the chemically synthesized oligonucleotides of random sequences, usually hexamers. These are produced by the oligomerization of equal quantities of the mixed A, G, C, T residues so that all possible hexameric sequences are present. The hexamers bind throughout the length of the messenger RNA molecule wherever complementary, resulting in internal priming of first cDNA strand instead of primer from the third dash end of the tag. It means they can bind into the internal region of the messenger RNA or any kind of RNA. Random primers, however, create certain problems. For example, if one is interested in cDNA synthesis from poly-A RNA, the product will be contaminated from cDNA synthesized from poly-A RNA as well, and cDNA clones derived from random priming of first strand cDNA tend to be smaller than clones derived from oligo-DT priming because it can bind into the internal region of the RNA. So it will create the shortened length of the first strand cDNA. The efficiency of the priming varies from one messenger RNA to another depending on the size of the messenger RNA and the complexity and composition of the random primer pool. The primers have to be removed between first and second strand synthesis step. Otherwise, second strand synthesis will also initiated by random priming. So we have to remove random primers in between the steps of first primer strand and second primer strand synthesis. Oligo-DT primers, adapters or oligo-DT primer linkers. What are the roles of these linkers or adapter during the cDNA library synthesis? For first cDNA strand synthesis is oligonucleotide such as oligo-DT primer adapter may also be employed. These primers consist of oligo-DT appended at its 5' end with overhanging sequences that will support the addition of restriction enzyme sites or useful sequences on one end. The purpose of such primer adapter is directional cloning of double-stranded cDNA. Hence, such first cDNA strand synthesis is done in combination with second strand synthesis with a similar primer adapter having different restriction enzyme site. Oligo-DT primers linker work on same principle for directional cloning. Now we will discuss about the asymmetrically tailed plasmids. So synthesis of the first strand is also primed from an oligo-DT tail covalently attached to one end of the linearized plasmid. This strategy allowed direct and efficient cloning of the cDNA into the vector. Being large in size, it is often not possible to incorporate enough oligometrically tailed plasmid in the reaction mixture to achieve a high primer template ratio. Now we will discuss about the primers used for second cDNA synthesis in order to obtain a molecule that is stable and can be manipulated and cloned into a vector. The messenger RNA in the single-stranded cDNA messenger RNA hybrid need to be replaced with a cDNA strand of the same sequences. This second cDNA strand synthesis is covalently carried out by the E. coli DNA polymerase 1, Clinau enzymes, reverse transcriptase, or T4 DNA polymerase. The more stable DNA polymerase, such as THN-TEC DNA polymerase, can also be used. Now we will discuss about the self-priming. This strategy takes advantages of the tendency of reverse transcriptase to form a hairpin loop during the first cDNA synthesis, which is used as a primer for second cDNA strand synthesis. This hairpin is formed due to spontaneous intramolecular base pairing during reverse transcriptase reaction. This technique is advantageous because a single primer that is used for first cDNA strand synthesis is used to synthesize a second cDNA strand as well. This method leads to higher yield of double-stranded cDNA. For cloning double-stranded cDNA into a suitable vector, hairpin loop is removed in a reaction catalyzed by S1 nuclease. As it is uncontrolled reaction, there may be frequent loss of cDNA sequences corresponding to the 5' end of the messenger RNA. Now we will discuss about the RNA fragments generated by the RNase treatment. So RNase H recognize a single-stranded cDNA messenger RNA hybrid and makes many nicks at gaps in the RNA strand. Many RNA fragments thus created along the length of the first cDNA strands provide free third-OH groups to be used as a primer for extension by polymerase. The reaction has three main advantages. First, the priming is very efficient. Such priming does not need any further treatment or purification and can be carried out directly using the products of first cDNA strand synthesis reaction. And it eliminates the need of use S1 nuclease and hence is free from disadvantages such as loss of cDNA sequences that results from S1 nuclease treatment. Now we will discuss about the oligonucleotide priming. So in this method, homopolymeric tail is added to the third end of the newly synthesized first cDNA strand. The tailing is done by exploiting the activity of terminal DTT, a template independent DNA polymerase from calf thymus in the presence of only single type of dNTP. This oligo-DC tail then acts as an annealing site for the chemically synthesized complementary oligonucleotide priming, which is oligo-DG. Now we will discuss about the oligonucleotide linker priming. In this method, once first strand is synthesized using oligo-DT primer adapter, a homopolymeric tail is added to its 5' end in a DTT catalyzed reaction in the presence of DCTP. First cDNA strand synthesize oligo-DT annealing to the poly A tail, and the adapter provides a recognition site for a restriction endonuclease. This oligo-DC tails provides complementary sequences for annealing the oligonucleotide primer. The messenger RNA strand in a hybrid formed after first cDNA synthesis is subjected to alkali hydrolysis or denaturation process. Now we will discuss about the random priming. Similar to first cDNA strand synthesis by random primer, second cDNA strand synthesis by cleanout enzyme can be used. Random priming of the second cDNA strand is done after alkali digestion of the RNA in the hybrid, and random priming prevents third dash or 5' bias in the resulting library, but with this method full length cDNA is hardly obtained. This is the flow diagram of the self-priming classical method of double-stranded cDNA synthesis. Now we will discuss about the enrichment methods. The library is expected to contain cDNA for abundant messenger RNA such as general housekeeping genes and for those genes whose expression is specific to the particular tissue. If cDNA encoding a specific protein is needed, it is wise to use a cDNA library from a tissue with a high quantity of RNA for that protein relative to the other RNA. For example, in the chicken oviduct, messenger RNA encoding ovalbumin is a super abundant. Hence, the starting population is naturally so enriched in ovalbumin messenger RNA. Now we will discuss about the construction of the eukaryotic cDNA library in expression vectors. So eukaryotic cDNA that encodes functional protein is cloned in particular type of expression vectors. Most eukaryotic expression vectors are shuttle vectors that contains promoter to origin of replication, eukaryotic transcriptional and translation stop signals, a sequence that enables polyadenylation of messenger RNA, two selectable markers gene, one for E. coli and other for eukaryotic hosts. Now we will discuss about the cDNA libraries generated by RT-PCR. RT-PCR can be used to provide the cDNA for library construction when the source of messenger RNA is unstable or in very small amount for the conventional approaches. In this technique, instead of gene-specific primers, universal primers can be used. So this is the sum up of this session, and this session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University, Jaipur. Hope you are satisfied with this session. If you have any query regarding any kind of a process in cDNA library, you can mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you.